This is the Sim Pit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to today's Friday edition of the Pit Stop, where we are here to talk about sim racing amongst friends, where you guys, my friends, are the real star of today's show, because we are here to talk about sim racing. Happy Friday to everybody. I'm always pumped for a Friday, and this Friday's maybe a little extra special. I'm really tired. I need to get some rest. I need to take it easy for a few days. It's a much needed weekend for me. In addition to that, I am planning a vacation coming up fairly soon, and I'll let you guys know when I'll be off the air for that. But yes, definitely gonna have to take some time away coming up soon. But happy Friday, everybody. I love Fridays. It's, to me, we all work, we all have our Monday through Friday routines, and come Friday night is when I always got that sim racing bug. Friday night was my favorite night to race in sim racing, and then that led to the weekend where I could just pretty much sim race as much as I wanted to. So really cool stuff, you know, for sim racing when it comes to the weekend. And I don't have any story on it, but I just want to remind you guys, between qualifying and practice 3, between practice 3 and qualifying tomorrow, this should be like first thing in the morning, maybe even late tonight, should be that McLaren World's Fastest Gamer show on ESPN. So we'll have to kind of try to find links and remind each other, especially on the Patreon group. You guys all have my back. Be sure to let me know if you know when it's on and remind me so I can go watch it. And I'll do the same for you if I find it first. But anyway, what's going on in sim racing? So I'll tell you, today's a little slow day, and that's to be expected. F1 2018 came out yesterday, so we can stop talking about that all the time, although I do want to talk about it a little bit today. Gamescom is kind of wrapping up, so there's going to be little out of that. And then we're going to kind of have a little bit of a slowdown as we have a few more games coming out. But honestly, for us sim racers, there's nothing really super duper cool on the horizon until maybe Competizione. And even that, if you think about it, it's coming out with, what, one car, one track at first, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember their rollout, as they put it. Tyrone, no, I will not overwork myself, but I do know that I'm a little tired, so this weekend I'm going to have to budget my energy well, and it's been a while since I've had a vacation. I think the last vacations I've taken were all work-related, so I'd be gone here to go to work, versus this next time I want to leave here to go on a hike, if that makes sense. So what is going on? You know, she does them every Friday, and not one person's ever told me whether it was good or bad or whatever. So I don't know if I'll keep mentioning this, because it is every Friday, so you should just know. But it's for around May. She's doing one of those watch mixers on Forza with her friends Epic Shenanigans, and they're going to be doing the Aussie Stunt Challenge and Racing. That's today at 10 o'clock. You can check that out. If it's worth watching and you guys want to be reminded of such things, you know, you can let me know that you do. I mean, I find this like a little different than the Yorkie guide. To an extent, this is like Forza's in-house competition to me, versus at least I know when I'm recommending a Yorkie guide from Project Cars that it's to your benefit. You're going to learn something, not just promoting another stream that has nothing to do with our show. But anyway, Verona May, today at 10 o'clock, Forza Mixer. You can check that out. All I'm going to say about F1 2010 from their perspective is, as expected, you got promos everywhere. Formula One talking about it, Brandon Lay talking about it, Renault Sport talking about it, McLaren Shadow talking about it, Ivan Trechano, I don't know who that is, Renault, Mercedes AMG, PlayStation Europe, Formula One, Outside Xbox, Red Bull Games. The list goes on and on of people who are talking about F1 2008. Yesterday was the today was the date that it was supposed to launch, but I guess it rolled out yesterday in certain regions. So people have been playing it. I've been watching some comments, and despite my, I'll be straightforward. I'm gonna be honest. I've had a pretty decent time with the game. I've seen a lot of others talking about various things, some controller issues. I had no controller issues, so of course my perspective, it worked like a champ. I only tried with the Thrustmaster TSXW with the pedals plugged in, and it was pretty good. I did talk about the AI being fairly aggressive, but I've had a good time with it. And maybe part of that, and one thing that I'm going to give you my little thoughts. This isn't a full review or anything, but again, this is the Madden of motorsport games. This is the game that comes out every year, and the differences sometimes are very small, sometimes a little more significant. The main thing you're getting is the right tracks, the right liveries, the right branding, the right naming, and all of that kind of stuff, much like Madden. I have to confess, it's been a few years since I've really taken the F1 title. I don't want to say seriously. I don't know if I ever take it seriously. It's been a few years since I've played it in any kind of depth other than just checking it out. This year I liked it. I had fun with it, but maybe it's because it's been a few years since I went away. And, you know, the one comment that I could make, I mean, I honestly, to me, this is sort of like the Forza of Formula 1. This is all game. It's a game port. You know, one thing you can knock it for sure, it doesn't even have mouse support, so when you're playing it on a PC, it's very clunky. You have to remember what button on your controller is like number 6 in order for it to be the forward, or number 5 to be the backward button. You know, God forbid we'd have any kind of PC controls, and that's a bummer of it. But I did have fun. It is a complete F1 series, and the driving is what it is. It's very much a game. You saw my videos where you could really use that front wing almost like it's a bumper. So there's only a certain level of seriousness to it, and I think when taken with a grain of salt, if you've been away for a few years, it's certainly worth getting. If you even have any doubt, though, what does the new version being out today really mean? I'll use my brother as an example of gaming. My brother doesn't go to the game store very often. He's not subjected to the advertising of gaming, so he doesn't know what the latest version is. So my brother is notorious for playing 1- or 2-year-old versions of games. So if the new version comes out, my brother's radar is like, oh, good, that means F1 2017 will be like $2 on Humble. And so my brother's known for playing last gen, not current gen titles, and doing it on the cheap. So, you know, if you had doubts as to whether this game would be worth it for you or not, I think my recommendation would be now is probably a good time to get into F1 2017 for a matter of a couple of bucks. That's going to be a lot more better results for you than playing the new one. And if you've bought every single version, you know, from what we've seen, there was nothing revolutionary about it. And, you know, you have to just kind of weigh it just like you would a Madden football type game. It is what it is. I really mean that. It's hard not to, I hate using such a cliche thing to say about it, but I don't think it's really portrayed as being the sim of sims. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts. I have enjoyed it. I've had a good time. If I was having controller frustrations, which I've had with other titles, it would have me on the opposite end of the spectrum. I would be blowing a head gasket. You know, for me, luckily, I played with no issues other than, I think, what's intended in the game, like challenging or aggressive AI and things like that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Related to that, Spa. I just want to talk about Spa. There's a cool video here from Formula 1 talking about Spa's confusing corner names. And so I'm not going to play the whole video because we know what'll happen. But, for example, Eau Rouge. Everyone thinks of the whole section, like pretty much from when you cross in front of the pit lane, down the hill, the left, the right, up the hill, and the left. Most people think of that as being Eau Rouge. And as it turns out, Eau Rouge is actually just this very, very bottom section. And I can't remember the name already. I should, but the top of the hill actually has another name. Anyway, this video is really fun to watch because if you've ever had an argument or been confused about the names of corners of Spa, you're not alone. And this video really maps out exactly how bizarro the naming is and where the confusion is, and the fact that maybe the world calls it one thing, but people in Belgium call it a completely different thing. So I thought that was kind of entertaining and worth seeing on a slow news day. Let's see, what else here? WRC. We have a video here. This actually came up on the 20th, but I don't remember seeing it. But this was the finished video from Season 3. And right there we are getting a look at John Armstrong, the guy who went on to win the entire competition. So there you go. You can find that at the WRC page. Redillion, thank you. Thank you, Alex. That's right. Redillion is the top. There are a bunch of confusing spots if you watch that video, and it makes me laugh because I ran Spa just like a month ago in an endurance race, And it was a little confusing talking to the guys. You know, I would literally just describe it using the name and then no, the left. Anyway, WTCR. Why is this page here? Oh yeah, Dornadin. We talked because this was the picture I had seen. Alexander Dornadin is the one who won that eSport WTCR Ascaro event at the Hungaro Ring Sunday evening, and we've talked about it, but that was a really cool picture of him getting the trophy, and that's why I thought it was worth showing to you once again, so you can know who Alex Dornadin is, being that he is one of the dominant people on the WTCR side of things. In addition, knowing what they look like, we talked about Garrett Lowe winning the kids competition. That's not a good thing to say about it. The young person, I don't know the Ignite Series, that's what they call it. We'll call it that. The NASCAR Ignite Series, the series intended for 13 to 16-year-olds. Garrett Lowe is the one who won the first race, and we saw his red and white legend, but there's a picture of Garrett Lowe, so this could be one of the up-and-comers. This could be one of the guys we're talking about in sim racing in 3 or 4 years, or maybe even in NASCAR 3 or 4 years, who knows. And we mentioned yesterday that we're into the chase, we'll call it, in the iRacing Peak NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Same thing goes on the World Championship Grand Prix Series. We're down to 5 races left. Tomorrow will be the 5 races to the end. So tomorrow morning you can tune in on that iRacing live channel that they've created. My cousin Vinny. Radion, not Radillion. Radion, thank you. Thank you, David squared. 2 Davids, both with the same correction on my pronunciation. I apologize. I'm just a dumb American when it comes to international words. We had talked about it. It's a short news day, so one other thing that I apparently was actually they had another video of that ultimate sim rig that we talked about. But what is this? Did you see that? That was freaky. But anyway, that was just another video that did come out just yesterday by the Hoonigan guys. Actually, the day before yesterday. So you can see, cosplay does not equal consent. Remember that, you guys. Don't forget that. Don't be grabbing characters' butts just because they're in character. Slow news day. What can I say? Air console. So we talked a lot about the next-gen consoles maybe being just in the cloud. Like you wouldn't even have a box. You'd just have some subscription service maybe through your smart TV or something. I don't know. Air console is already there. This is a company that's got a website and interface, and you literally play the game with your cell phone. So this is something that could be the next gen of gaming. I am not eager for such a thing when it comes to sim racing, I can tell you that. I mean, I already don't like using things like a wireless. I don't like racing on a wireless connection. So, there you go. Interesting article at Variety about Xbox Game Pass, and they really broke down how the X Passes work on a financial level. Like, does it work? What does it do? How does it motivate gamers and change their gaming habits? But Xbox has found that Game Pass members spend 20% more time playing games and played 40% more titles. And that 40% more titles extended beyond games in the Game Pass. And they went on. We just talked about the franchise-type games like an F1 title. Well, the games being on Game Pass are leading to sales in those franchise titles or by companies that make multiple games beyond the X Pass as well. So maybe F1 16 is on the Xbox Pass is leading to more sales of 18. Or if it's a game like THQ that makes driving games and shooter games and a bunch of things, that one of their games would lead to the other titles having increased sales as well. So really interesting article if you want to really know the psychology. I mean, what we're really talking about there, we're talking about psychology. That's what this article is, the psychology of gamers. And if you're a company, you're trying to maximize profits, you're trying to make money, you need to understand gamers on a psychological level so that you can sell them more crap. That's the bottom line. Thought that was interesting. Gaming Bolt talking about NASCAR Heat 3, the dev on microtransactions, pay to win. It's a tough pill to swallow. So you can find out their thoughts and directions for the microtransactions and how that will affect fair play in NASCAR Heat 3. If you're interested, you'll find that at gamingbolt.com. We're going to be under 30 today. I guarantee you guys. I'm rock and rolling through these. And like I said, it's a pretty slow news day. I'm covering some pretty things that I don't really even care about myself. I hope somebody out there cares about Vroom Kaboom, because I don't. But it's got cars, it's got wheels, it's got a Snap-on Racing banner, so I gotta mention it. But Vroom Kaboom, there's a review. Tower Defense meets Slot Racer. This is at fingerguns.net.games or /games. So you can find out more about this one. Like I said, I don't have much interest in taking a dune buggy against a tank. I do like jumping police cars. That is always fun and cool. That looks like the LA River right there. But you can find that at fingerguns.net. PC Gamer talking about Forza Horizon 4, how it will let you push to the extreme beyond Ultra on the PC side of things. So as we've gotten to this new level where we're really starting to focus more and more on resolution, frame rate, even the console guys, you know, people are starting to say, what are your frame rates? When the next gen HD comes in, the first question will be frame rates. So apparently Forza Horizon 4 is really being designed for where things are in the graphical market on the PC side of things. So that's great. That'll probably make it really stunning, and we'll see how the gameplay is to match. PC Gamer also talking about cheaper RTX 2080 cards will arrive after the initial launch. Okay. In a nutshell, right now where we're at in the market, next gen cards are on their way. Traditionally, and this isn't just hardware, this isn't just software, this is facts of life. The launch cards are going to be at a premium price. When the brand new Apple phone comes out, it comes out at a launch price. And the people who have to have it first pay a premium for such a thing. You wait for the next ones to come. You wait for those patches. You wait for those updates. You wait for maybe a change in production. Maybe they even learned something about the cards and changed something in production. The next wave are going to come out a little bit less money. So the only reason to go running out and buying one first is if you're one of those people who needs to brag about it. Or just, brag about it sounds wrong. Who wants to be on the cutting edge of computer performance, but it comes at an extreme cost. The other thing that I will note, just like I'm talking about F1 2018 coming out, F1 2017 is now a screaming deal. I think someone literally told me they paid $2 on Humble for it. Same thing here. The prices of, I think I even have an article. Well, I'll come back to that thought on that in a moment, because I think I have another article, but remember where I was there. PC Gamer, I had to show this. This is like a computer case built for Sean. It's got a built-in coffee maker right there in the front. Now, of course, you don't usually want to mix heat and something that you're trying to keep cold, and I like my coffee pretty darn hot, speaking of which. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm pumped. I love Fridays. Everyone's always in a good mood on Friday. Non-peasant price. It keeps away the riffraff, Jesse. Anyway, I thought this was a really cool computer, worth seeing, even if it's just to make you laugh. But as you can imagine, I would like that. I could just right now go, oop, refill. Okay, True Achievements talking about Team Sonic Racing. Developer talk Team Tactics. There you go. Now you know. That's at True Achievements. MotoGP, we've been talking about it here. The semi-finalists in Part 1. Check out the first 6 riders through the semi-final 1 from Challenges 1 and 2. And they have a little bio here on Juan NH16 from Seville. And Adrian 26 from Las Palmas, Spain. And you can find out a little bit about them. But again, we don't talk about it a whole lot, but this whole MotoGP esport, you know, talk about an esport that is on an even playing field. No one's using a wheel. We just removed hardware from the equation. Everyone's using controllers. Motorcycle physics are not the same as motorcycle physics, no matter what you say about it. That means everyone's on a pretty even playing field. You know, there is no unfair advantage to the guy who really understands car control. Maybe that's one we should all be considering and going after. It is an esport. Just want to let you guys know about a track that has come out. So this is for R Factor 2. It is Sentol International Circuit by Haris Mohammed and Dmitry Milnikov by HM Engineering. And you're going to find it on Steam. So if you go to Steam for R Factor 2, you'll actually see this track and be able to add it as we see R Factor 2 continuing to grow and get a bigger modding community. My phone's way over there. Damn you, telemarketers! Let's see. Also here talking about the Le Mans Esport. So Alonso says, I tip Le Mans Esport to be a huge success. We talked about this a little bit before. You know, you think, is it Massa? I think Massa is the one who's heavily involved in karting, like the head of karting in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. We know Alonso's trying to break into IndyCar, but we also know that might take a while. We also know that might not even happen. I could very much see Alonso being one of the big players in the world of sim racing esport in the future. He's got his feet in deep. He seems to be playing a very active role. And I got to tell you, Alonso has become my favorite racer from Formula One at this point. And the main reason for it has been, well, he's done a great job with that McLaren when you think about it. But, you know, he's a champion. He seems like a fun guy. And then on top of it, he's advocating sim racing on a huge level. So that is very, very cool. So Billy got hit by him as well. Telemarketers, damn it. This made me laugh. At first, I got so excited when I saw this article, and then I laughed. NVIDIA's site. This is at NVIDIA.com under the GeForce. Assetto Corsa Competizione shows off its NVIDIA RTX ray traced reflections. Wow, that's awesome, right? And then I get one photo? That's it? This is 2018. I've heard it from the Competizione side. Oh, we're going to be using the RTX. Now I see it at the NVIDIA site, and what I get is one, albeit very spectacular looking photo. But a little bit of a disappointment to me, because I was really hoping that we were going to have a handful of photos. Maybe we have more coming as they get back to their offices after Gamescom. So, one thing I will mention about F1 2018, I kind of covered it all at the very, very beginning, but there was a day one patch that maybe that's why people are having controller issues. Maybe the new patch messed it up, because again, it worked perfect for me, and now I've heard all sorts of problems. And a TV commercial for release, so Speed Maniacs is talking about that. I couldn't play the commercial, and I already have talked enough about F1 2018. Motorsport, which I'm surprised this is in the front side. I guess that shows you where sim racing is in their world. This is in front of the paywall of Motorsport, but an article here introducing you to the Haas Engineering drivers, Martin Stefanko and Michael Smittle. Mikael Smittle looks a little big for a real car, open cockpit at least. Martin Stefanko, he looks racer size, but anyway, a little write up on the two of them, and you know, the beauty that is this F1 draft. And you know, that's something else that I can tell you that I'm not happy about. You think about F1 2018 esport, the Formula One esport being maybe the pinnacle esport, and man, there's no denying that that is a far cry from sim racing, and that's too bad. I'd like, you know, we would never let F1 guys drive in cars that were that inferior and call it F1, if you know what I mean. So, F1 F1 Esport, that whole series they did, we watched a bit of it last series. This is the one that Brendan Lay went on to win. It was very cool what they did, that whole production value. Anyway, they actually won an Outstanding Digital Achievement Award from the SVG Europe Sport Production Award Show this year. And no surprise, because they really did put on quite a show. This was the biggest I've ever seen sim racing. So when I say, yes, it's on one hand, it's the gamey side, and we can point that direction. But on the other hand, they've really put sim racing at the top. You know, it's getting the same kind of production value of what much, much bigger money esports are at this point in time. Excuse me. In addition to that, New Balance has become a presenting partner of the F1 Esports Series moving forward. So now they're more money, more sponsors, more names, more production, more awards. Who knows? Article here at JapaneseTimes.co saying that esports looking to secure Olympic future at Asian Games. So behind it, Konami is really pushing for this, and we've seen a lot of things. I've heard some things. I've heard some things. We could see it in the Olympics, as weird as that is to say. This was what I was going to get at. So Road to VR, I was saying. So the GeForce RTX has already pushed GTX cards to their lowest prices in months. And I would, to an extent, look at this change in price. Boom. Demand. That's the cryptocurrency spike, I do believe. And then just a drop since then. Look at that. A flat line on a 1080 and then just an extreme drop. You can see the Thai cards seem to be a little more volatile. Yeah, we are. We're going to hit 30 minutes just like that. I just can't help myself. Newegg has some deals on cards. 1080 from MSI for $429 after rebate. Slightly more expensive variation here. 8 gig 256. So this is just the difference between manufacturers, but $524 even then for an Asus. Gigabyte 1080 Ti for $659. And continue. I would expect to see continued amount of dropping in price. You know what? Jesse Conroy. Now I'm going to disclaim this right now. Jesse Conroy is a hard man to make happy. Jesse. So I'd expect Jesse to be a little less positive about things than I am in general. Jesse has some experiences with F1 2018. He's part of the patron group. I have him on Discord right now, and I should be able to jump into chat. I want to hear from someone, not me. I'm a reviewer. I'm playing an advanced copy with the TSXW. I want to hear some other people's thoughts on F1 2018. So we are now going to officially shatter the 30-minute mark, because I want to do this, and I waited for somebody, and I just see that Jesse is available. So hold on one moment. Jesse, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Sean.
All right, hold on. Can you guys hear Jesse? Speak, Jesse.
Hey, boys. How's it going, pit crew?
There you are. So any of you guys don't know, Jesse's one of the people who races with us all the time in Wreckfest, Assetto Corsa, iRacing, everywhere. He does his own streaming as well under Viking Elite Racing, and he's a good friend of mine. Jesse, I told everyone that in general, I think it's fair to say that you're a harder person to please than me. Like, I generally...
Yeah, in some ways. I don't mind just calling it like it is, though. I need to be a fan of everything.
So, you know, I'm gonna at the beginning of the show and during my streams, I've had some pretty decent fun with F1 2018, and I've heard some grumblings from a lot of different people all over the internets, and I just want to get your thought from a consumer perspective who paid money for the game, and you use an OSW and high-end pedals, so you're mixed-matched componentry. How did things work out, and what are your thoughts on the game so far?
Well, I'll try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. One thing I found is for an OSW, I did have to have the wheel centered when I start the game, and I had an issue where that wasn't the case when I first tried to bind it, and it wasn't working correctly. After I got that figured out, all the controls seemed to be pretty easy to use. Then on top of that, I went in the career mode. My only gripe is I wasn't able to use the abbreviation CON. I was able to have my nickname be KHAN though, which is basically the same thing. And I actually tried some racial names. I'm not going to name them, but the game had no problem with any of the racist names I tried to use, but CON was not available to use. It said it might be offensive to other people.
That is very strange.
So besides all that stuff, I thought the game looked good. It seemed to play nice. The cinematics and cutscenes seemed to have a little lag. I have it about 36% on the large Midge OSW, and I have to say the steering felt great. It felt like I was on the road. I felt all the bumps. I had good forces on the corners. You hop on a game like Project Cars 2, and I hear not every car really has the same force feedback feeling in that game, but their F1 cars, you just don't feel connected to the road like you do in this. And, I'm really happy with the force feedback. I've heard the game's telemetry isn't the easiest thing to work with by some people.
Well, I think some of that is the output signals. So I think it was Darren Ganji of Sim Experience who was saying that some of the output signals of the telemetry are unfortunate for like motion sims, and that could even play a role in force feedback.
I have about an hour and a half on the game, and I see Billy's coming in to chime in, but I'll make this my closing thing to say. I haven't done a race in the game with the AI. I've done the practice sessions up to the race, and I got bored and hopped in multiplayer. And I was greeted with a lot of very aggressive drivers that had no problem taking off my front wheels as they tried to pass me. But let Billy chime in.
So basically, even though you were on the PC, you kind of found that console matchmaking and that typical multiplayer that you get in console, which unless you're in a really tight-knit group, you never know what you're going to get, in other words.
Yeah, I'll say it like the game wasn't really announced to be released yesterday. So I don't know if I was driving versus really advanced players that are a fan of the series and they want to get ahead while there's still, a lower amount of guys to play against that may be picking it up for their first time. But besides that, I was really happy with how the game felt, especially compared to how even Forza feels, how Project Cars 2 feels. It's a superior feeling than those games easily.
What did you think of the AI in particular? Oh, you switched to multiplayer very quickly.
I drove a little bit with the AI, and I think I had it at 40% difficulty, and it seemed to match up with my skill level pretty good. But that was on like a practice course, kind of doing hot laps, and I would, kind of catch up with the slower AI on the course. But I don't remember if I actually had past guys in that or if it was in multiplayer. But I like the game enough to give it another try. Like I'm gonna play it tonight, essentially.
What'd you think of the Halo?
I like being able to remove it. It wasn't that bad, but it is a little cumbersome right in the middle of the screen. It's almost like you could take two monitors and have an excuse that you could run two monitors side by side while you race.
Too funny. All right, I see Billy Strange. Billy Strange of Billy Strange Racing. You'll find him on YouTube. He does some great sim racing content and some podcasts with some very cool, interesting guests. I know he recently had John Sable, so you had the duo from ISR on the Billy Strange channel very recently. You should go listen to that for sure. Billy, you are here, and I know you have had some not so good luck with F1 2018. What are some of your thoughts?
How much time do we have?
Today we can have as much time as we need.
I am fairly disappointed. And that has nothing to do with the way the car handled. I think the car handles just... I think the rest of it, however, leaves a little to be desired. When I first fired up the game, you're greeted with this intro, you know, your name, your helmet, everything's for the helmet again, whatever. And you get through, and I go to the pedals or the input section, and it says, hey, we've detected all these different things. I'm like, sweet, it knows what I'm running. And then it goes on to say, you also have these things that aren't being detected. Okay, fine. So what it did was it tried to select, I have Fanatic V3Is along with a Thrustmaster TSPC Racer. And what it did was it said, hey, we're going to take the profile for your Fanatic V3Is. Now you need to try and map your wheel. Okay, fine. I remapped my pedals. That worked. Went to map my wheel. Wouldn't work. I tried everything, and then it wouldn't let me go. I was thinking, okay, I'll just move forward, and then I'll get to it. It wouldn't let me go. So I had to make it force the game to go back to the beginning, go into the settings, which that took me a minute to realize that I had to actually get it to back out. And then from there, go in, and I took the TSPC Racer profile that they had, modified it, gave it my pedal inputs and everything else, and then it worked.
Oh.
But again...
But, like, you could have easily not been able to figure out and just had a useless game.
It was, for somebody that might have been new or was just expecting to jump right in, that was incredibly frustrating. Now, again, I believe the issue is I did not have... It recognized everything that I had, but it also didn't like the fact that I was using a Thrustmaster base without the pedals plugged into the wheelbase, or vice versa. I wasn't using a Fanatic wheelbase with the Fanatic pedals.
Right. Now, to me, this is... Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
Billy, did you try to, like, just go through the controls again and remap?
It wouldn't let me.
Okay, so you weren't able to do that?
No, right at the beginning, it sat there and it would not let me go. It would not let me map anything as far as the wheel was concerned. So I was at a standstill.
I could hear how
the only thing I could think of was because my initial thought was, okay, it's not getting it. This happens. I'm just going to continue on and go to the next section. It won't let you. If it doesn't detect some sort of pedal input and wheel input, you cannot continue. So I had to back all the way out and then go into settings with my keyboard, because there is no mouse support. Day and age where you're putting a PC game on, or this game on a PC, and there's no mouse support. It's a little annoying. Not a deal breaker, but it's a little annoying.
I agree with that.
I could remap 100%. Everything once I got into the settings, but again, that wasted a good, I don't know, 10 minutes.
You know what really...
Trying to remap and going, why can't I even go forward? What the hell's going on? So that started my irritation.
Well, and that's something that, to me, like...
And then beyond that, from there, I went to start career. I left the Halo on thinking, oh, this isn't that bad. But then when you go to start your practices where you have to hit those mark, you have like little learn the track, tire management, stuff like that. Well, that Halo was right in the way, so I had to take the Halo bar because I actually couldn't see some of the timing gates or the apexing gates that I was supposed to go for in order to complete the challenge. But it's nice that was removed.
I really don't know if drivers would do it in real life.
It started getting really bad.
I don't know if the F1 drivers lean to the left and right as they do.
I don't have this with any other sim or any other game. It would pause. It would just stop. So my frame rate was like at 119, 120, pretty much solid. But
Well,
it would stop.
I think that's most likely driver
it would do this
optimization.
long pause, a good 2 or 3 seconds. And then the game would speed up, like fast forward.
Yes, David, there was.
To where I should have been in 3 seconds. And then I could continue going. This was happening like whenever there was traffic, I don't know, once every lap or every other lap. And again, if it was just every once in a great while, it's like, okay, we need new drivers. We need X, Y, and Z. They need to optimize a little better. I can get beyond that. I've played other games when they first come out that are like that. That doesn't bother me. But the fact that it continued to do it was incredibly frustrating. And then the AI. I joked earlier, but I'm partially serious here. I feel like they took their old Toka touring car AI and put it in this game for the AI. I do not play F1 to get rammed constantly. And the fact that when you are in the car, there's no virtual mirror makes the problem worse.
Yeah. Billy, can you hear me?
I put everything. I wanted realistic damage. I wanted to see what it was going to act like. I wanted realistic penalties.
Can Billy hear us?
No.
Yeah, because I'd wait for him to stop.
The rule of thumb is I should be able to go even before the braking zone side by side with the car, and they're going to hold their line through the corner. Nope, they'll just move over. I don't have a problem with them moving over in front of me, you know, blocking their line and defending. That's cool. That's great. But the problem is that they come in and they'll just flat move you over. And if there's any sense of a gap, they race like multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I think they're going to do in the future, and it's probably
So
an
all
obvious
that
step.
together. I mean, it
Damn
looks
it,
nice.
Billy.
The cars drive nice. But there's just all these little things. I mean, there's much more than this, but there's all these little things that prevent the game for me for it being enjoyable. And right now, you know, this is a problem that I think a lot of games right now are going to face is Steam has a 2-hour return policy.
Or is he done?
I'm not sure.
Publishers and developers aren't being smart enough to realize that at least my initial experience should be enjoyable enough that I don't want to return it. And right now, I'm going to return it. I do not like what's happening. It's a waste of my time. There's too many other great games to be played.
Dirt oval, Billy.
Okay,
Right.
so there you have it. Jesse, did you have any final thoughts?
I can't remember. I was just trying to be really patient for Billy, and it was cracking me up.
He
so
was cracking me up
I'm
as
all
well.
done.
Can you hear us now, Billy? Apparently not. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. I think we covered that. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
guys' thoughts. There you go. You know, I think that everything that you heard from everybody is perfectly said. And, you know, the one thing about the Sim Pit is I want buyer beware. I want people to know what they're really going to encounter, what you will or will not enjoy. And so a lot of it comes down to one thing I will say, coming off of what Billy said, is that one thing I do find frustrating here in 2018 is when it comes to console port type games, and there are a lot of them. This isn't a new idea, not a new concept, and it's not the first rodeo for any of these companies. And when they make errors when it comes to controllers, things that should be the basics of a driving simulation, and at this point, again, in 2018, man, if you're even trying to present yourself as a reasonable motorsport simulation game, whatever, you have to have full controller support. There's no excuse, period, for not. And to make it cumbersome or difficult to not have basic PC support just is inexcusable. And I see this time after time from a bunch of games. I'm not even trying to single out 2018 here. This has just become kind of, unfortunately, the norm for these port type games that are really, when we say port, let's face it, what do we mean? We mean a game that was made for the console, and they figured out a way to make it run in a console environment on the PC. That's what you're dealing with, and that's why it never gets along with the PC all that well. Usually we'll have some added features that you won't find on the console version, like maybe triple screen support, maybe even multiple controller support, but time and time again it is hard to get things mapped and use high-end equipment on those type games. Anyway, I'm glad. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Jesse, for joining me. That was really awesome. And like I said, you guys, you are the real star today's show, and we will always be adding to that. So what else? Let's finish things off because we are way over time. So just some few deals out here. No, you cannot know. Best Buy is selling the Acer mixed reality headset with controllers in blue for $229. That is $170 off. Amazon is selling the HP mixed reality headset with controllers. Oh, certified refurbished. I wouldn't buy refurbished, but a lot of people do. $169. Oh, someone had asked about VR on F1 2018. This was sent in to me by Mark Hessling. Thank you, Mark, for sending this in. But this is something, it was published by DC Gaming, and with the release of F1 2018, I go through a setup VOR PX and the in-game settings so you can play F1 2018 in a basic version of VR. So, whoa, I still have my Windows audio on. I'm sorry about that. I probably just blew out everybody's ears. So sorry, you guys. But I thought I had that muted. But anyway, if you're looking for how to run VR on F1 2018, that's where you can get it done. And then my final story of the day before I just bring up a few more little topics and get out of here is Microsoft is finally bringing some of its exclusives to Steam. So when there's been a real holdout on certain games going to multiple distribution platforms, and you know, we can use this article as just an example. We're going to see that. We talk about a lot of different distribution platforms being available, and that's going to force and change the way everybody deals with us. It's always good for us when we have multiple different platforms to choose from. Then they have to start having sales to steal business from each other. Maybe they have to get more deals with Microsoft and the likes like that to get us more games available through those places. But it's all good for the general gamer. So last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish. Friday is a perfect day to throw down the gauntlet, and Nick C has thrown down the gauntlet on Project Cars 2. So right now their community time trial is at Watkins Glen. And you can see here he took out the Acura NSX GT3 and went #1. Third Eye is Nick C's name, but a 107.420. And if you're like, well, GT3s are cool, but I prefer real regular cars, cool. Well, he went ahead and did it in the regular Acura as well. Again, #1 on the board. Congratulations to Nick C. Third Eye. 153.523 right now is #1, and if you can go after him, that's the guy. You beat Nick, and you're #1 on the board. So Nick, thank you so much for throwing that in there. Also, we have 2 additions to the map. #1, Nick is up there in the New York type area up there on the map, and in addition to that, we've added Lonnie Jameson in the Colorado area. Whoop, there's the map, and you can see it's ever so filling in. So anyway, really fun show, a little bit different, through something different. We thought it was going to be short. We thought we'd be out of here quick, but that is perfect for Friday. Perfect way to start off the weekend. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you had a good time, and I hope you get out there and do some racing. This is the Sim Pit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.